Hi there, Steve Kaufman here. Today I want to talk about, in a way it's two subjects, but it's one subject, the issue of learning to speak a language like a native, okay? When I say it's two subjects, because there are two issues there. One is the issue of how we use the language, our use of words, our ability to use, the structures accurately, correctly, the sort of language usage side of the equation. And then there's the pronunciation or the accent. And now in both of those, our goal, of course, is to speak like a native. We would like to use words like a native. We would like to use the grammatical structures that the native uses. We would like to have an accent that is indistinguishable from the native. Now, in my view, and one other thing that's kind of connected with that is the issue of fluency and what it means to be fluent. And so really the reason I am doing this video is because I had an exchange with one of my viewers here, and we were talking about what it means to be fluent. And this person said that, fluency, I make the point that fluency is essentially being able to do whatever you need to do. In most situations, you're comfortable, you're not hesitating, and therefore you need a lot of words. You can't be fluent if all you can do is ask for the bathroom and chit-chat. Now, this person said no, he feels that, he or she feels that if he can chat with a waiter or waitress in a restaurant, or have, some degree of conversation, and adds, I consider fluency the ability to do what you set out to do in the language. If you learn it to meet people and learn about them and you don't stutter, I say it's fluent for what it is. And he adds, with a minimal accent, if any. Okay, so the suggestion here is that if you have a minimal accent, if any, and you can make some limited kind of polite conversation, and if that is your goal, and if you're able to do that, then you have achieved fluency based on your goal. In my view, the issue of an accent is irrelevant. I know lots of people who I consider to be fluent in English and who have, in some cases, quite pronounced foreign accents, and it doesn't matter. I have met some people who have very little accent, who are able to imitate the accent quite well, but who don't use the words properly. They sound much worse to my ears, because with limited accent, you expect the person to be able to use the language correctly, and if they can't, it almost comes off worse. Now, at any rate, as language learners, my goal is to get as close as possible to the native speaker. I want to imitate the native speaker. We are imitating a part of that person's culture, the language. We want to get as close as possible. That's why when I listen in my language learning, and I listen a lot, I only listen to native speakers. I won't listen to non-native speakers until I'm fairly advanced. I find it less motivating to listen to non-native speakers, and I'm trying to imitate the pronunciation. I can listen to a variety of accents, European Portuguese, Brazilian Portuguese, or, Mexican Spanish, Iberian Spanish, and eventually I focus in on one that I want to imitate. But in any case, I want to be listening to a native speaker. So our goal is to get close to the native speaker. We are extremely unlikely to get there. I have rarely met a person who is totally native-like. There are some of our, polyglot colleagues like Luca that are very, very good, very close. Although in English, he doesn't sound like a native speaker, but he sounds very, very, very close to a native speaker. I think that in French, I get close to a native speaker, but I don't sound like a native speaker. People can tell that I'm not a native speaker. So I think it's nice to try to get as close as possible to being a native speaker, but one should be realistic. Now, on the other hand, when it comes to fluency, if I look at my own languages, I feel I'm fluent in, certainly quite fluent in my top 5. most fluent in French, followed by Japanese, followed by Mandarin, then, you know, Spanish, Swedish, German, and even in a language like Portuguese, which I haven't spoken a lot, and therefore I don't really speak well. I am never embarrassed. I'm never in a situation where I can't say what I want to say. We can be talking politics, we can be talking whatever. That's even true in Russian, where again, it's at the bottom, getting at the bottom of the 10 languages where I would consider myself somewhat fluent, because I haven't spoken it very much. So I have a lot of vocabulary. I can become fluent fairly quickly. In fact, probably I would give myself the benefit of the doubt, but I make lots of mistakes, as you saw when I did that video. So being fluent doesn't mean that you don't make mistakes. Being fluent means that you are comfortable when you are interacting with native speakers, where you don't control the conversation, you don't know what they're going to talk about, and you can participate, and they aren't uncomfortable dealing with you, because you can follow wherever the conversation goes, more or less. So that to me is fluency. Not I set myself the goal of being able to go to the cafe, chat with the waiter, and find the bathroom, and I can do that quite well, and therefore I'm fluent. I don't agree with that. Some people, maybe that's their definition, but I think, to me, fluency is B2, okay? On the European scale, it's B2. If you're there, you're fluent. There's still a long way from B2 to speaking like a native. So a native at C2, in terms of vocabulary, use of words, grammatical accuracy, there are very few mistakes. When I speak French, I can make mistakes. I might make some mistakes on gender or word usage, but I don't make very many of them. So I'm actually quite close to a native speaker in terms of use of words. But I don't speak like a native. People can tell that I'm not a native. Maybe I should end by speaking a little bit of French, which is the language where I get closest to being native. Bon, maintenant je vais essayer de dire la même chose en français. Je pense que je parle mieux le français que n'importe quelle autre langue que je maîtrise. Mais ça ne veut pas dire que j'ai un accent semblable à l'accent du locuteur natif. J'ai un accent. Des fois, les Français vont me demander si je suis belge, les Belges si je suis suisse, mais les gens sentent que je ne suis pas natif. Je ne suis pas un locuteur natif, et non seulement mon accent, mais aussi l'emploi des mots, des fois, il va trahir des problèmes, des choses là qui ne sont pas tout à fait comme ce serait exprimé un locuteur natif. Voilà. Mais parmi les langues que je parle, c'est la langue que je parle le mieux. Pourquoi? Parce que j'ai vécu 3 ans en France, j'ai fait mes études en France, j'ai beaucoup parlé français, j'ai beaucoup lu, j'ai beaucoup entendu, etc. Après le français, c'est probablement le japonais, parce que j'ai vécu 9 ans au Japon. Et ensuite, soit le chinois, soit l'espagnol, etc. Ça devient... je parle avec de plus en plus de difficultés, ou avec de plus en plus d'accent, mais je suis quand même... je parle couramment. Le mot anglais fluency, parler avec aisance ou parler couramment, ça implique un niveau dans la langue où on n'est pas gêné. Les natifs qui t'écoutent ne sont pas gênés. Ils sont, bien sûr, des fois je cherche mes mots, mais je peux me défendre dans n'importe quelle discussion sur n'importe quel sujet. Plus ou moins, même si je fais des fautes. Voilà, c'est ce que je voulais dire sur ce sujet. And there you have it. Speaking like a native. Bye for now.